Hello viewers, welcome to the third episode of the tutorial series How to Make Games. Well, in our previous episodes we have already learned about the environment of Unity3d and we know the basic functions of Unity3d. We know how to create game objects, we know how to move it, how to rotate them, how to scale them, and we have the basic concept of rigid body. In this episode we are going to start our new game, and the game that we will be creating is a very basic game. It is kind of like Flappy Birds. You might have played the Flappy Birds game. It is a very basic game in which the player have a very few functions. The bird responds to the spacebar or the screen tap. Whenever the player hits the spacebar or taps on the screen, the force is acted upon the bird in the upward direction. And whenever the bird collides with the wall or any other collider, the bird dies. So this is the very basic game and we are going to start with this game. So let's get started. Go to game object and create a sphere. Well, I am considering this sphere to be my bird because Unity3d is not a modeling software and you cannot model a bird inside of Unity3d. You need some external tools to create a bird, but we are just creating a sphere as our bird. We are not going to go inside of other softwares. So create a sphere and I have shifted it to the origin. At this moment if I test the game, nothing very special happens. The sphere is at the center like a spot and doing nothing because we have not added anything. In the game of Flappy Birds, the bird responds to the gravity. The bird falls down, but this sphere is not falling down because we have not attached any kind of physics to it. So let's attach the rigid body. You know about the function of rigid body. Go to component, physics, and attach the rigid body to the sphere. So now when you test the game object, you will notice that now the bird is responding to the gravity and is falling down, but it is falling down limitlessly. It is falling down and down and down and not stopping because we have not added any kind of platform as a limit to it. Therefore it is not stopping. So let's create a platform. Go to game object and create a cube. I am using the cube as my platform and shifting it to origin. Okay, I am going to y-axis. Let's change its X scale to 10. No, it's too short. Let's change it to 20. Yes, 20 is okay. Okay. Well, our bird has been buried inside of the platform. So let's move the bird a bit upward. Let's change its position in y-axis to 4. And I'm changing the scale in y-axis to 0.5. Okay, now let's test the game. Voila, the bird is falling down and the platform is stopping it to fall down limitlessly, but we are not able to see things clearly because there are no lights inside of the scene. So in order to create a light, go to game object, create other, and click on point light. Let's shift its X and Y axis to 0 and 0. Okay, let's move it upward a little and let's change its range to, I think, 30. Like 50. 50 is okay. Now let's test the game. Okay, now it's looking some interesting. Okay, now the bird is responding to the gravity and there is a platform below it. But in the game of Flappy Birds, whenever the person hits the spacebar, the bird goes in upward direction. A force is acted in the upward direction. But in our bird, it's not happening because we have not attached any kind of script that tells the bird to go in upward direction whenever the space button is pressed. So we need to create a script and attach it to our bird. So go to assist, right click on it and click on create and create a JavaScript. We are using JavaScript because it is more simpler than C# and Boolean. although you can also script in C# or Boolean. Let's name it bird controller. Okay, double click on it to edit it. So this is the first appearance of the script that you have created. You will notice that there are two functions already pre-made inside of the script. One is start function and the other one is update function. Well, the start function is the function which is executed only at the first time when the game object is accessed, while the update function is accessed every frame. And the method that we want to attach with our bird is a method that can be called at any instance. The player can hit the spacebar at any time, so our script should go inside of the update. So let's start scripting, the main thing in developing the game. Okay, let's start it. Game object dot get component, rigid body. The R should be capital. I'm opening and closing the parentheses because rigid body is a method and I want to add a force, therefore I'm using the method add force, and I want this force to be in upward direction, therefore I'm using transform dot up, and I'm multiplying it with a number, let's say 5. Okay, there is a mistake. Let's see what it is. Transform. Okay, I have spelled the transform wrong. Transform. Okay, save it and go back to your editor. It will compile, and it has been compiled without any error. You have created a script bird controller, but when you will test the game, you will notice that nothing happens because you have created a script but you have not used inside of your scene. You have not attached it with any game object. Since you want your bird to respond to the force, therefore you need to attach the script to the bird. So in order to attach it, click on the sphere or the bird and click on add component inside of the inspector menu and write the name of your script and click on the script. After doing this, an additional option will be shown to you inside of the inspector panel named as your script was named. And now when you will hit the play button, till now nothing happens. Oh, the mass, the reason why nothing happens is that the mass is 1 and the magnitude 5 that we have created over here is not capable of lifting a mass of 1 in upward direction, so we have to reduce the mass. Let's reduce this to 2, and now let's test the game. Okay, now it's responding to the force and it is going in the upward direction. Let's test it with 0.5. Okay, it's working. Now you are able to see that the force is acting on the bird without any condition. It is acting at any cost, and we don't want it. We want the force to be acted whenever we hit the space bar. We don't want it to act all the time, so we have to give a condition inside of our script that whenever I hit the space bar, then I want this force to be acted. So let's add a condition. If input dot get button down jump. Well, in Unity3d, jump is used to refer the space bar. Save it and go back to editor. Now let's test the game. Not responding. We'll change the mass a bit more, 0.1 let's say. Well, it's working, but the magnitude 5 is not capable of lifting the mass of 0.1 kg. So we have to increase the mass to let's say 20. Let's test it. Okay, now 20 is doing better than 5. Let's increase it more. Let's change it to 50. Now let's see what happens. Okay, now it's working like a charm. Well, so you have created the basic environment of Flappy Birds, and you want to save the progress that you have done. So in Unity 3D, the work you have to save it in a scene. So in order to save the scene, click on File and click on Save Scene. Let's create a folder named as Scene, and save it with the name Flappy Birds. Okay, now in the SS folder, additional folder named as Scene is there, and when you will double click on it, you will be able to see the scene. Now you can, without any tension, close your scene, close your Unity 3D, and reopen it whenever you want simply by double clicking on this. So this is all for now. Meet you at the next episode. Till then, goodbye.